You're trying to be successful. You're trying to be good. You're doing your best. Even trying, the word try implies failure. Like, do the good. Don't try to be good. Do good. And how in remaining humble at the same time is such a pull and such a struggle. And serving all others through it, right? In the attempts to be good. There's a scripture in Micah. It's sometimes translated as love being kind, but then I have a translation that has love goodness, right? So it's like that whole question, why is it so hard to be good? Right?
Man. Yeah,
right? So why is it, how can we be, why is it so hard to be good? Right? And even in my faith, it says to love goodness, right?
Yeah.
Like just choose, and then love in a sense is often looked at as a feeling, but it's more of a choice.
It is a choice.
Right? So just love the act of being good, right? And so now it's this whole dance of walking through life, trying to find good things in which to be good.
Yeah.
Right? Good choices, good values, good people.
It's a choice.
Yeah, it's a choice, and but it's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so tough, right?
It's not an easy choice, but I think it's helpful to think of it in that way, because love, people get the idea that it's just this feeling and this emotion, but it's like, no, it's, you get up in the morning, what are you doing in your day? Yeah. That's what you love, right? And how do you love, and how do you love people? And I know you put so much thought into that, which is why I like talking to you on this. But yeah, I think I'll kick it off. It might take a minute, but I think it's helpful to read this. This is If... pronounce his name for me. I know you know how to say it.
Rudyard Kipling.
Rudyard Kipling. There we go. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies. Or being hated, don't give way to hating. And yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you, except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. Corey, why is it so hard to be so good?
Why is it so hard to be so good? I think just when we were discussing earlier, we might look at good as kindness or good as a feeling, right? And ultimately it's like good is a choice, right? Like I look at good as a choice. And why is it so hard for me personally to be good at the best of times? Because my ego wants to choose a different route at times. When life gets thrown at you, when you get that, you're in traffic, you're in traffic and you get cut off. Is it good to throw up the finger? Right?
Probably
not.
It's
the most simplest of, analogies, right? Is it good? And hey, no one's watching. It's just me and that person that may have cut me off in traffic. There goes the finger. So does that make me feel good in the moment? Maybe, right? Where's that feeling coming from? Because good isn't a feeling. Good is a choice. The choice would be to hold in those emotions, right? To the best of your ability. Know that that action isn't going to, save the world in any way or your moment. and keep it together and move forward, right? And I think that would be the choice that we would make. So if we can simply do that in the car after being cut off, why can't we lift that up into bigger choices of goodness, right? In our lives when we're met with it, when we're met with that adversity, of life.
100%.
Yeah.
It's a great starting point because, I read this and there's so many paradoxes in here, right? Like how do you not hate while being hated? Right. All these paradoxes. Right. Like how do you, someone in your opinion who cut you off in traffic,
right.
who you take that offensively, like this guy's trying to piss me off, right? How do I not cut him back off? How do I not speed up and try and chase him? How do I not give him the finger and all this stuff that you're talking about?
It's only fair. In a world where we're moved by justice, right? Like we want justice in the world. We see our algorithm reels, depending on where you are. I know I like watching true crime, right? And then I love it. I think it's great. I like watching body cam footage. Like I like to watch police interact. I like the way they work. It's interesting. People sometimes that they're pulling over on a car ride or going to a house, and I like watching that. And it's interesting how I don't often ask my question why and where that's coming. Why do I like that? And ultimately, in reflection, it probably comes from my heart is wired for justice. I think we all want to see justice. I don't know these people on the screen that I'm watching, and a drunk driver's pulled over, and I have a body cam, and the drunk driver is not accepting responsibility, but yet I want to see that to the end. I want to see that officer, bring justice to this person, and it fills my heart to see it, because maybe it's because in my life where I didn't feel I had justice in all the hurts that may have come towards me in my own life. So I think that's probably where it's at there.
Yeah.
Is we're wired for justice, man.
Yeah. It's like people, how many times you hear people say it's not fair. Life's not fair.
Yeah.
And, all these systems we've made, like to your point, crime, the law, police officers, all of these systems, taxes, all of this is a way to try and make life fair. But unfortunately, you can't regulate everything, right? No. And you're not going to put someone in jail because they flipped you off in traffic. Doesn't mean it's good. Then you get to the Stoic idea of like fairness and justice, like not to say social justice in the way that we think about it today,
right.
but in the Stoic sense of how am I fair to you as a fellow human being, and how am I fair to my wife, my kids, and so on, right? So I think you hit a nerve on that one. I think a lot of times people do come back to this isn't fair.
It isn't fair,
right?
It isn't fair. I mean, in Scripture, there's the Pharisees, right? And the Pharisees were these high priests, and I often remember I had a priest friend tell me one time, the Pharisees. When Jesus came to kind of talk about a new way of living and a new gospel and a new scripture and a new way that was kind of contrary to what they were teaching in the high priesthood as in the Jewish religion, they were a little bit, wait a second here. And then they saw followers kind of follow Jesus and convert into this new way of living and becoming new. And the Pharisees, a priest friend told me one time, it's not fair, you see. That's how they kind of like walk around. Wait a second here. There's a new guy. It's not fair, right?
Yeah.
It's not fair. Like, we got to be, going our way, not that way.
Right.
And ultimately they killed him for it. But trying to find their justice, right? Yeah. And yet they were still loved in that process through the entire thing, even though they felt this wasn't true, this wasn't right, this wasn't fair, and now justice has to be given to this person. On the cross, right?
How much do you think that we as human beings know? And I know you call yourself a Christian, or I don't know if Catholic.
I'm Catholic,
Catholic, okay, yeah. But
which is still Christian.
Yeah, still Christian, yeah. But it does beg the question, how much do we know what justice actually is versus, you would say is God, or what I would say is like the cosmos, like in the Stoic sense. What does it actually mean to the cosmos, this idea of justice versus what we see justice as being?
I think as I want justice my way, right? And if you look at how many people on Earth, 8 billion people, maybe they have their way. So is there 8 billion rules? on what justice is. We might share the same point of justice of a particular situation that we see or what that happens. Hey, you're a buddy. You might call me up one day and say, you know what, dude, a buddy of mine owes me $50. Right? Like I gave him this $50 and he told me Wednesday he's going to pay me back $50. Wednesday came and gone like a few times, no $50. What type of justice? Like, you know what? This guy, interest. Like, we should charge him 100 the next time around. I mean, that's my justice for his wrongdoing towards me. And I might say, oh, I don't know, give him another chance, or maybe there's more to the story. Maybe go $60 instead of 100. Maybe doubling it is a little much. I don't think it's fair justice to double it.
Right.
You know, so we're going to have a different version of what justice is, and I think I try to find it rooted in the truth. In truths, right? And to me, truth is a person, and I do my best to kind of follow those guidelines, which again comes with straight up goodness, which God is good all the time. So I try to kind of live my life around those perimeters of what would He do, you know, and then again, you know, completely fail along the movement of the world to try to make those good decisions, you know.
100%.
Yeah.
And failure is such a big part of the whole process. And, you know, when I was listening to this again this morning, and it's actually, I thought about failure. I thought about how much of all this, because, you know, what he's talking to here is very hard. Like this in this poem, a lot of it's
Kipling's
very hard.
amazing.
And the question is, how much of this is something that, you know, we accept that we move towards but never fully attain? Kind of like the way of, you know, you accept that we want to move towards being more like Christ, but we're never going to be God. We're never going to fully get there. And that's kind of accepting your own limitations as a person, right?
Which is beautiful. I've come to love my limitations in a lot of ways. They used to, they'd be hang-ups for me at one time in my life. Maybe I don't know when, but I know I still harbor memories and feelings of my limitations. Like, why aren't I taller? Why aren't I stronger? You know, all the things. It could be the superficial things. Why aren't I smarter? Why don't I get it? And then you become, you know, the imposter syndrome of like, going through life feeling like you really don't know what you're doing, and then try to fake your way through it in whatever way possible. And yeah, man, and to just sit in those limitations and to try to understand the limitations, maybe grow from the limitations. If it's a limitation that can be changed or fixed in some way with your own hard work and effort put in, maybe you just haven't looked at that limitation close enough in which to improve it. Or maybe it's a limitation that's just going to be there and it's an unfixable, right? It's something that you're going to be probably living with your whole life, and either it be physical, mental, whatever the case is. But just learning to love that limitation as much as the strong points of your life and the strong attributes that you might carry. Right? Yeah.
It's part of loving yourself too.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can't, it's the same way. And like you love another person, you can't just love the good. You have to love the whole
You got
picture.
the whole package.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because you can't separate it. You know, we try to in
No,
our head.
no,
we try and keep
no.
the good and separate the
Yeah.
bad and fix the bad.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you know,
we're embodied. We're mind, body, and soul. And it all comes with it. So within relationships, you're going to choose the body. You're going to choose my mind. You're going to choose my soul.
Right.
That's coming in all together. And sometimes my mind is on a different spectrum than maybe my body might want to be or is. Right. And I'm going to make some choice decisions that you might not like. And we deal with it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, it's a good thing to keep in mind that, you know, for me, it's been beneficial to understand that, you know, if you want to accept another person and they're bad, it's the same thing as accepting the bad in yourself. Like they're not separated. It's not, you know, you've heard of shadow work. Carl Jung, he talks about shadow work, looking at your darkness. And, you know, he believed that this was a way of really opening yourself up to compassion. Like that was like the first step in you being able to understand another person is to being able to understand yourself. And, you know, we were talking earlier about how, you know, just people in your lives kind of bother you, just the small little things. And part of getting over that is realizing that you got your own bag of stuff that they have to deal with.
We have our own garbage, right? We our darkness. And I think Jordan Peterson even touches on the fact that we're all capable of evil, you know, like whatever of our own lives that we're trying to deal with. And some are maybe darker than others for some, but ultimately we have the capability of being dark and being evil and choosing evil, and also good. We have that. We're inherently good. We were born good, right? And into sin if you're in the Christian belief, but yet, we still have that opportunity, right, to choose love, right, and move our way through. And love, in a sense, as a Christian, is a person. So you choose that person, choose that relationship. You choose and understand that our sin, because of our sin and because of our hurt, darkness within us that we were born with, we need that Savior in which to help bring us to eternity, right? With Him.
You brought up ego a couple times, just filtered in there, and I think it's interesting because a lot of this stuff, like how much, you run through some of these things like Kipling's talking about here. How much of this do you think really just gets down to subduing your own ego?
Oh my gosh, it's good. I want to just read something here from Kipling here, just from that poem, which is awesome. It's towards the bottom, and it says, "If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch," right? It's such an interesting thing. It's like, it's the strength without ego. Can you be strong without it? Like, you're always going to have it, And I wrote just in some of my notes why humility is harder than success. Like humility being the hard thing, and ego, that your ego and your humility choice to be humble in every moment is such a struggle. It's a tug of war, right? And and like he says that you walk with crowds, walk with crowds. And I think I wrote in here, it's like challenging not to become successful, but remaining humble, right? Like you're trying to be successful, you're trying to be good, you're doing your best, even trying. The word try implies failure. Like, do the good. Don't try to be good.
Yeah.
Do good. And how in remaining humble at the same time is such a pull and such a struggle, and serving all others through it, right? In the attempts to be good, right?
Yeah.
So I would do my best to, of course, choose good, do good for the strength of others. So really, it's an act of service to be good. So you're not being good for the sake of being good, so somebody can look at you and say, "Hey, I'm a good guy," or "That's a good guy."
Right. That's ego. That's your
ego.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's, I choose good. I do good for you.
Right.
Right. For you, and whatever that good is, a listening ear, a coach, right? A giving charity, whatever that good is. Are you doing it for your own good and benefit, or is this something that is an act of the will and the act of service towards someone else? Right?
Yeah.
So I think if I can get that right, I know that within my own small circles of life, I think things can be healthy. But if we all got that right, I don't think we'd have that many problems. Dealing with that many problems. But here we go. We're broken. Right? The ego is in there.
Yep.
Yeah. And we're going to go there first. I think that's most of our first reach will be to worry about how it makes us feel, right? How it makes us look. That sense.
So hard to let that go. Eminem has this song where he's I don't know if you've heard it, "Walk on Water," but he's talking about that post-career. So Eminem's had like this massive success in his career, and he's a famous rapper and all that. But he writes this song near the end of his career where he's kind of, everyone still knows his name, but he's not releasing new material, and basically the song was, who am I when the crowd's gone?
Yeah.
And it's the same with anything where why are you doing what you're doing? The whole intention behind why you're doing it, like what you're speaking to. When you gain some ounce of success in your life, and then who are you when that's gone? And fundamentally, to me, that comes down to why you did it in the first place. Like, if you're doing it for the crowds, then of course you're going to lose yourself when the crowds disappear. But if you're doing it for the right reasons, in service, to your point, then the crowds are just the crowds are just nice. It's just gravy. It's not something I need. It's something I like.
You don't need it.
Yeah.
You're not coveting it. It's not why you're doing it.
Right.
For the look of what the crowd perceives you to be, or who you need that crowd to look at you and be a certain way when you're offering yourself to them. So ultimately you leave like the legacy of a person what happens, what is the statement when the crowd is gone?
Yeah,
Right?
like, who am I when the crowd is
Who
gone?
am I when the crowd is gone? Okay. I think that question could be answered is what is left in the hearts of those people? What type of influence did you leave with those people that they went on to do or say things about you and what you've done, what you've offered, the good that you've given them to move forward?
I like that.
Yeah. Like what is it? Is it just a fancy song with words in it and a beat and you're in this tune or whatever it is? But is there some sort of a meaning behind it that have helped me move, grow, that you've offered to them, right? And you can take that down, like Eminem writes, Grammy award winning songs, right? And I'm sure he's touched a lot of people in his fan base, and I like a lot of his music too, and a lot of musicians. But what you can teachers, coaches, what do they lead? Like, I want to teach I love wrestling. Wrestling's kind of on my brain lately because I'm getting new wrestling mats. I'm getting some new wrestling mats for my gym. And kind of getting back in there to offer some of the things I might know in wrestling. But I get more excited to hey man, I get a chance to give some of my gifts away that somebody may receive those gifts and do good by themselves, in which to offer it up to someone else down the line, maybe, right? And not just in the physical aspect of wrestling, but whatever all the life lessons that might be learned from it to get good at it, right? Because man, that sport will hit you in the head like a baseball bat real fast, right? So you learn more life lessons in the sport of wrestling than I ever did when it came to the learning how to do a technique properly.
I bet. You have to be humble when you're in any kind of combat sport.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
You got no choice, and I think it's typical. It's the same in strength sports too. People just get egos, and they, you're squatting 200 pounds and then 300 pounds, and then your ego goes up, and until someone bigger and stronger, or rather worse, someone smaller and stronger comes into the gym. A 12-year-old from Russia comes in and
smashes that 105-pound girl from Romania throwing up 225-pound snatches, and they got to chalk their hands on that bucket on the world platform. They got to reach up for it when you get people going down. Right. So really, it's like, what is a record, really? If you think about it that way, it's like I tell my clients at the gym, I was working with a client recently and very new to weightlifting. So we're starting with an empty tech bar, which would be about 15 pounds, right? So even in the introductory to what even a gym is in all aspects of what's in it. Like, this is a person who's never stepped foot in it.
Right.
And have you ever had a barbell in your hands? No. So then they probably wouldn't know how much it weighs.
Right.
Like, so here's a tech bar. It's 15 pounds. We often refer to it as a training bar, but you'll see 300-pound strong man take a tech bar, and then you'll see a 10-year-old child learning how to lift weights using a tech bar. So, you can never say to yourself, well, I only have the light bar. Yeah. I wish I could lift heavier. And it's like, really, it's irrelevant because my light is different than your light. Your heavy is different than my heavy.
Right.
We each have a number of whatever that is, but it's meaningless unless you can really understand exactly where you are, knowing that you don't want to be there and you're going to move up a little bit more each day. So your light and your heavy are going to be different, and they're going to fluctuate, and it doesn't matter what the other person over there. So you're not going to compare yourself to any of the lifters in the room at all and whatever they're lifting. If anything, if you see somebody lifting heavier than you over there and that's your goal, then celebrate that person, right? Yeah. And say, good for you for meeting that milestone,
100%. Yeah. I trained with a weightlifter, and he had a tattoo on his back, and it was "Comparison is the thief of joy."
Yeah, the robber of joy. Yeah. Who came up with that?
I don't know. It is a famous quote, but
it's been written on so many chalkboards I've seen over the years.
It has been, But, to a lot of people, that's true. They find themselves, I'm not inclined personally to that so much, but I understand the temptation, just to compare yourself nonstop with other people.
Yeah.
And, the problem with that is, who are you comparing yourself with, right? And it works the other way too, because if you're someone with a high ego in the gym, let's say you're squatting, 300 pounds, you can be looking at all the people in the gym squatting 200 pounds, thinking you're the king of the world. Right. And there could be 5 guys squatting 400 pounds, and you're just not looking at them. Right. And then So it's like, who are you comparing yourself with? And I think there's some benefit in that. You mentioned like motivation and inspiration, but fundamentally, you are where you are right now. You have to get better.
Yeah.
How do you get better? Do that.
Yeah.
Cross your fingers.
Consistency. Doing things right in a consistent way.
Yeah.
I can be very consistent at doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And trying to lift that heavy weight and getting a no rep every time, busting my back on a deadlift, right?
Right.
Or grunt it up, right? Because just to say I got it, in horrible form, right? But is it a lift, right? Is it something? And it's like surrender. Like I wrote another thing with the Kipling, like if you can meet triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters as the same, I really like that. That it really hit me in there. And it's like surrendering to the outcomes.
Yeah.
Right. Like, this is what you've lifted. This is what you're doing in life. This is how much money you're making right now. This is how much, where you are in your school. This is where you are in your job. Surrender that. This is where you are. And then whatever outcome comes from it, surrender, right?
Mm-hmm.
You surrender to that, right? So then ultimately it becomes winning isn't the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, isn't the ultimate goal.
Right.
Like, that might be a controversial thing to say, right? Winning isn't the ultimate goal. That wouldn't be the focus. I used to tell my wrestlers all the time, don't focus on winning. Don't focus on losing. Focus on the process. Focus on the love of wrestling.
Yeah.
Right. And surrender the outcome. We're going to get one.
Yeah.
But surrender, don't think about it ahead of time, right? Think about the doing, the process, the loving what you're doing, being okay with where you are in the training at this point to that match. You got to surrender it, right?
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's going to be, where you're going to be able to take the triumphs and the disasters and not worry about them ahead of time or even after.
Yeah.
Right? Because you now, hopefully you've trained yourself, your mind and your heart to know that it really doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Right?
I love that, and I remember learning that lesson as a young athlete. Yeah. For me, it was mostly strength training, but just enjoying the process, just finding a way to enjoy it and eventually love it. Because when you're a young athlete, and you don't have to be young, you just be a new athlete. Yeah. You're always focused on the next PR, the next win, the next X, the next YZ. But I mean, I've been strength training for like 16 years now. And for me, I go in the gym, I focus on good quality, try and be present, which is hard, really hard because of work and life and everything else. I try and be present. I try and enjoy it. I try and think, if I broke my back tomorrow, I would be begging to get back, to be capable of coming back into the gym and working out. So I try and have gratitude, all these things, right? But it gets down to what you said. It's like enjoying the process. How do I just enjoy coming in, doing the grunt work?
Because maybe sometimes we feel obligated that we have to be there, and we're trying to like hold ourselves accountable to our goals, and we get lost and all that. I find today in youth sports, I don't know if you see it. I work with some teams and kids, and I've always worked with younger age groups and all aspect of sport, wrestling specifically, for a long time. And I've seen kind of a trajectory of, and my wife and I have never been gifted with our own children, but I'm very grateful that I've had other parents entrust me to help guide them through some of their athletic goals and throughout their lives. And man, today I see kids not having as much fun, where the process now becomes like, man alive, I got 12-year-olds with personal trainers now, and 4 days a week practice at the peewee level and the grassroots level of sports, and games on the weekends, and three they got their school, their friends, their this, their that, and they're almost being pivoted to one thing. If it's baseball, they have, well, how can I play soccer and baseball this summer when I got 4 practices at the baseball diamond, and they're calling 9-year-olds elite level training, and it's just this new trend, I think, and we're losing the fun. Starting to lose the fun of wanting to. The part of the process of any goals in sports is to have fun, and it's a cliche, but it's not a lie. That continues.
Play is so important.
Right? Just play, having fun, seeing, and you can still have triumphs and disasters in the play, right? and live through all that to grow as an athlete. But I just find that structure now, man, is so tight for these young people. You know, where they're training and they're like, man, I was talking to a young fella there not too long ago about his baseball, and I'm like, dude, you're training, dude. I was like an Olympic level athlete. I didn't train that much, right?
Yeah.
Where do you have time? I'm talking to a 12-year-old. Where do you have time to have fun, dude? Like, like you have fun with the boys. You go out, like, what do you guys do? Hang out on the weekends, have some fun, or games on the weekends, and we practice, 4 nights a week, and if it's raining, we do other things. Coach has us doing things, and I'm thinking, wow, that's intense, right? Where's the fun?
It's funny because when you're an adult and you see young kids, it's one of the things if you're humble enough, you learn from them, is just like, you spend your life as a kid and you're just playing, you're just interacting with the environment and just kind of happy just to be there and exploring. And then what do? You get responsibilities and you have to work and do this, and you lose that ability to just play. And I've certainly felt it personally, where I have to be diligent to get that back, just to be able to enjoy, to just play, just like to be out in nature and to do all the stuff that's so important in life. And and I think a lot of people resonate with that just because of the difficulty in life.
Yeah, not to take it too seriously. Like, even eventually you're going to get to a point with young athletes. I know I felt it, where I was so nurtured well with play. Like, maybe it's just the era that I grew up in, where it's like you find play, you create play, and then when you choose a sport in your life and you're maybe seeing some success in it early on, it's fun, and you have good leaders around you that are nurturing the play and the sport itself at the same time, and you're having fun. And then eventually you kind of get to a point where you have to choose, where the fun is still present, but you have to take it a little bit more seriously.
Right.
Where okay, there's time for play, and then there's a time for focus, and where this isn't the play time. When in the early days, it's all kind of play, even though you are getting some fundamentals within the play, and then boom, then you make a choice. And maybe sports are different in terms of when that changes in terms of their age groups, or maybe their particular athletes identified by a coach at a certain point saying, hey, what would it look like if we went up another level? You're going to have lots of fun, but it's not as much play. Right. You're going to have to choose this, and it's going to be a little bit more focus oriented and goal oriented, and maybe we can get you to the next level. Like, that's an important thing to note, I think.
Yeah.
When it comes to having fun, but you should always have fun.
It's a great point though, because this is why I think hobbies are important, and it's important to separate work from hobbies. And the reason I say that is because I felt like when I was growing up, there was so much push to, like, just do what you enjoy.
Yeah.
And there is a factor of enjoyment in what you do for work. You can't hate your job.
Yeah.
But I also have found it very beneficial to be able to separate, like a hobby for me. I have lots of hobbies, and they're just enjoyment. And they're a hobby because I don't bleed for them. I don't suffer for them.
Right.
I enjoy them.
Right.
And that's the play, and that's nice. Unfortunately for work, you got to suffer. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to go into your office.
Yeah. Get your walking
put
pad
down
out.
that hobby. Exactly. And those are kind of ways you can decompress and finding the play in life and having that balance for sure, and get lost in it. There's a lot of distractions out there
So many.
Like video games. I love them. Well, that's my hobby. Is that a hobby? It was not for me.
Not for me. I can see how it might be for some people.
Yeah, or they can talk themselves into it.
Yeah.
Losing the balance of it.
Yeah. Anything in balance.
Woodworking.
Right? Yeah, woodworking. Even just walking. I've enjoyed, we've had a walking contest in my office, and that's been nice. I mean, that's just to be like, okay, I'm going to get 10,000 steps in a day, and you make a hobby out of it. Every day I'm out and I'm walking the dog, and even that is just, you can find enjoyment. Then you realize sometimes all you need is a walk, and your mind sorts itself out. Right. Which so many people know.
Decompress from the rest of the suffering things, the things that the things where we might not choose this on any regular day, but it's a necessary component of what we're doing in our daily lives. Like, man, we need people out there holding the stop signs. Yeah. And to me, that's suffering. So it's like totally. But how does that person holding a sign find joy in it? I would submit that they could.
For
right? With
sure.
the right mindset can be, because they're needed just as much as a person at a bank who's dealing with somebody's mortgage, or somebody over at the hospital who's dealing
Yep.
with somebody's heart transplant, at that level. You're holding a sign, right? And you can find joy in that too. There's purpose there.
Yeah.
Right. And but man, we still have to do it. We have to do those things that make us so.
You know what bothers me when you see someone like that holding a sign, and there's always someone that'll say, "Oh man, they get paid, whatever, $25 an hour just to stand there."
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're not doing it.
Yeah.
Like you could go do that job if you want.
Well, they don't know the whole story either.
Exactly.
Man.
Exactly.
Like I was a sign guy, right? And not that long ago either. When I first moved here to Nova Scotia from Alberta in 2003. Okay, I was about 32 years old. Right, 32. My wife and I were in our first few years of marriage. We're in Edmonton. There was a death in the family on her side. That was quite sudden. Her oldest sister had passed away. She was only 35, and that was a big deal. So she asked me, "Hey, could we move out east?" Right, and I said, "Sure." So within very quickly, within a few months, we were in Nova Scotia, and I was 32. Here I am. At that time, I'm coaching wrestling at the University of Alberta, and really actually thinking like, well, this could be a career path for me, or at least it was in the starting phases of a potential career path in coaching out there and staying involved in wrestling out that way. My wife had a good job at the time, and we were planted. We had built our first house. Here I am, and then here we go. The world threw a peanut at us, and we made the choice to move here. And then I didn't have a job. We didn't have anything. I was starting from scratch. I barely knew anyone here. I didn't have any connections here personally. I had family. And my first job was my brother-in-law, who worked for Dexter at the time. He's an engineer. He asked me to be on this bridge crew, right? On this bridge crew. And build these Bailey bridges for one in Helmsdale. Every time I go on the 102 past Helmsdale, I'll always say to my wife, I helped build that bridge. Right there. And she goes, I know. Right? And so I get in this thing. I've never done a lick of construction in my life. I know nothing about Bailey bridges or building, bridges and whatever. So it was a couple months I'm doing this hard work. But it wasn't just that part of it, which I thought was super interesting. When there was downtime, you're standing there holding a sign in a job site because they got nothing else for you to do. Or you're told to go down to Dartmouth. And in one sense, I got told to go down to Chester with another guy to guard a sidewalk that was just paved.
Yeah.
In the nice town of Chester. It was really nice there. And I go, what do you mean guard it? Right? This is my job? Yeah, you got to go down there, and overnight you got to stay in your car. You got to stay up. And I go, well, why do I go to guard it? Right? Well, apparently there were some kids in town that were wrecking it all the time. So there's these street toughs, about 13 or 14 years old, kids running around Chester, wrecking this with the wet cement every night. So that cost them thousands of dollars. So they sent Corey and another guy in a hard hat to go down there and guard it. Like, dude, I didn't want to do that. But we found joy in that. We found purpose in that. We had some fun doing that. Yeah. And now it's one of my most fondest memories is, guarding the street toughs of Chester and this wet pavement. Yeah. Which is still there on the main street. Yeah. And not a blemish on it. Not a swear word written in it.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah. Absolutely nothing. That's awesome. All those, it's funny, those little stories that at the time, like how many times in your life have you just been like, man, this sucks, I got to do this. And then it's just a story that you tell everybody all the time. And it's funny and everyone likes it.
Yeah. I think it's a really good technique on which to kind of endure any of the things that come to you in life. Like, is to look at it as, you know what, this is a potential story. I can't wait to be able to write this story after it comes out, or share whatever moments or whatever lessons that can come out of it, because you just don't know what's going to come out of those things, the bad and the good, that can move you to your own personal life lessons of growth, where you can improve your own self, and others where you might be able to share. You don't know who might need to hear that story. Right. Yeah. And so it's just like you're compiling these moments and experiences of your life. It's like it's like in your bag of arsenal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And so rather than looking at it as a pessimist and saying, well, I don't have to hold that sign, or I don't want to have to go into the office today, or it's boring, or this or that, whatever excuses you want to make. It's like, what are you missing out on?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what are you missing out on if you don't do that hard thing? Right?
Even just boring stuff and or even just stupidly difficult stuff. You know, my last job I had to early in the, you know, probably 6 years ago. Sometimes I'd have to get up like in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m. to go, and you know the boat was coming in, and I had to like help the guys tie up the line, and you know then I got to get up the next day and work, and it sucked. It sucked. But now I'm like, you know, that was pretty cool, you know, and you know you get up 3 o'clock in the morning, you go and you see the guys, and everyone's joking because it sucks, and everybody knows it sucks
because you're all in it.
Yeah,
you're all in the suck, right?
Yeah. Everybody's in it, so you just joke and you make, you know, there's a camaraderie in shared suffering.
Oh, there's a power around shared suffering, right? And only the ones within that suffering can really understand it.
Right.
Like so like I have this all the time where wrestling was a sport of suffering.
Yeah.
in so many ways, right? And I don't want to just, you know, generalize wrestling as the most suffering of sports. There's so many things that we do in our lives that are going to create suffering in our lives that we have to endure. But there's nothing better than being around somebody that understands it just a little bit, right? And I remember one time I was in an airport. You know that guy? He was a UFC champion. His name's Demetrius Johnson. He was a lightweight in the UFC. One of the most winningest athletes in the UFC. Like considered the GOAT, and often not remembered because he had left the UFC after I think he defended his title like 12 or 13. I don't put me on the number. I'm not that much of an enthusiast of it, but 12 or 13 times he had defended his UFC title, and just a phenomenal athlete. And he was like a 125 pounder or even lighter, and which is the lightweight of the division. And a lot of times the light wasn't shown on him, you know. And there's a lot of like OG MMA fighters now that would shine a light on him and remind people like, hey, yeah, there's a lot of GSPs and all these, you know, the John Joneses of the world, but there's Demetrius over here. And this little guy that, dude, he broke records. Like I think he might have been a two belt champ. He might have been. Regardless of that, I'd ran into him at an airport. I never knew him. And there he is. He's got these cauliflower ears. I'm sitting. I'm going, and he's a short little guy, a little bald guy, right? And he looked like a little fighter, but small guy. Like I'm a small guy, and he's a little smaller than I am. Even.
Yeah.
And but he looked athletic. You know, looked like a little wrestler, right? And I see him over there, and dude, man, we just gravitated to each other. It's like the two guys in the room with cauliflower ears and in a busy airport. And we sat down. And he says, "Oh, where are you from?" And I know we get to chatting, and then we're chatting just about general stuff about how tough because he didn't have a wrestling background. And he was more jiu-jitsu, more, you know, that sort of stuff. And we were talking about our respective sports and how tough it is, you know. And it's like, it was interesting to here's a guy that suffered, dude.
Yeah.
Like I get it. And I did in a different way, my sport. But yet we had that commonality.
Yeah.
Right? And it's so nice to find those people that understand the pain of that, the pain of what I endured. Because it's hard to explain to, you know, the pizza guy.
Yeah.
You know, ask me why my ears are funny.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
There is a thing for shared suffering, and I think there's two beautiful pieces of that. The first one that you spoke to, and the other one is that kind of humbling. You can't have that experience with everything. Yeah. Right? Like there's so many people that you just don't understand. And I think that's to get back to the whole humility piece. Just being able to accept that, you know, it's wonderful that you have camaraderie with someone, and you know, maybe you work for the same company or the same, you have the same job or you play the same sport, and then also being humble to say, I have no idea what suffering looks like in that context. You know, I mean, even like motherhood and giving birth, stuff that you and I would just never be able to understand. Yeah. The pain of that. Yeah. What to endure. There's one of my favorite comedians. His name's Brian Regan. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Brian Regan. I don't think so. Brian Regan. He's hilarious. Look him up. Right. He is phenomenally funny. And he's a clean comic. He's like he's an observational comedian. Yeah. Right? So the level of relatability in his humor is just off the charts. And sometimes the most simple observations that we see every day are the most hilarious. Right. And he talks about like, you know, our pain, you know, like if he went to the doctor one time because he had a stomach ache, and then the doctor asked him to rate his pain.
right? Like, and he's like, I hate that when they ask me to rate my pain. Like, what am I?
Right.
Too enthusiastic, thumbs up. Like,
Yeah.
5 stars. Like, what is my? He's saying
Yeah.
this, and then he heard that breaking your femur bone in half is like the biggest most painful thing that one can endure.
Wow.
But then when he suggested that the femur bone was the toughest pain to endure in the world, all the mothers came in and said,
Right.
well, childbirth, beats out your femur break, buddy. Right.
Yeah.
And then that rate of pain, that's a level 10, that one. I mean, your little femur's a 9, and he's joking about that. And then he had this kind of a funny visual of like, what if I ever went to a hospital and you saw a mother giving birth, but she also had a broken femur. That would be painful.
Yeah. Just explode.
Yeah, just explode.
That's so funny.
I butchered his humor, but he's funny, man.
Yeah. Brian Regan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love those comics that can... I like both. I like guys that keep it clean, and then sometimes you get guys like Bill Burr who's just screaming into a mic, and both are good. Both have their place.
Yeah. He's really taken anger to the next level of humor.
Yeah, right? He has.
Right? Where it's like, and what is that too? Like you get these rage comics. I see them more and more. I think that shtick of like unleashing your venting
in a funny way.
In a funny way,
and
I think that's another thing that people are gravitating to, because maybe we hold up this pent up anger and we like it when somebody else yells it out for us.
Yeah.
And we can laugh and relate on the side without having to lose our control.
Yeah.
And we allow the funny man on stage to be completely out of control, and that's acceptable. And how addicting that is to want to have to watch that all the time.
That's interesting.
Right?
Eh?
Like I think that way. I think, man, I can't watch Bill Burr for longer than a reel or two now, right? Just because he's funny. But if I get too caught up in that, dude, I leave after watching his special, and then I'll go to the gym and I'll be angry.
You'll be angry,
right? Yeah. Like I'll start to take on that, man.
I never thought about that. Do you think? I guess I know. Yeah, I know a lot of people put on like masks.
Yeah.
When they go out, and part of that is part of being a human being and social and all that stuff. But so there's I guess I kind of got two parts on it, because there's that, but then the other part is like a child, and we're all just children in some form. They don't hold anything back. They
tell it like it is, right?
I got a buddy who had a 2-year-old.
How old is this child though? Because I love the filterless children.
2 years and under.
I guess 30 and be like a child.
You can be,
and that filter is not existing. Those people are a bit annoying.
But yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I had a buddy who had a 2-year-old at the time, and he was saying, he's like, that kid has no trouble letting you know that he's pissed off.
Yeah.
I just thought it was the funniest thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's true. And but you do, to your point though, you do meet people like that are grown ass adults that have absolutely no social filter. And it's very strange. Bill Burr's probably one of. He's very similar to that.
There's even in that circle. Well, I think there's a lot of them out there. I can't name them all, but I've seen it more and more.
Yeah.
There's a few, like in all genres of comedy, I think that it's becoming socially acceptable to yell into the void, right? To yell your opinions and to yell your what you believe and unapologetically, right. And then some of us are, even in those contexts, at least I feel it sometimes, maybe I even do it, right? Like I have to kind of watch both sides of it here, right? Where I impose my wrath onto you, and you must listen, in which to not to offend my understanding of said situation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I think that's and we come yelling at each other.
Yeah. I really like. I don't know if you know who Sean McCann is.
No.
He, Great Big Sea, the band.
Yeah.
He's like the lighter, higher pitched singer.
Okay, great.
He's Sean McCann. So they broke up years ago, and he does solo gigs now. But he was talking about this was back in the Canada-U.S. politic thing. But he said basically if we can just tolerate each other's strong opinions, like we'll have peace.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily saying you have to tolerate everything, but if we can just talk, and just
Dialogue.
respect, just have dialogue. At least we're not fighting. And I thought that was a pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Canada has a history of resolving. Well, we've done our share of bad things too, but overall, like, we're diplomatic and we like to talk things through. And we didn't have to go to war with Britain to get our freedom, and we negotiated it and diplomatically. And not to say that that's always possible, but certainly I think Canada showed that you can do that in a lot of times.
Yeah, and it can be done.
Yeah, it can be done. Yeah.
Well, healthy dialogue is where understanding is achieved.
Right.
And we're going to disagree on certain things, but where can it be a win-win situation? Is that even a real term, win-win? Because I think sometimes in any sort of negotiations, and it could be politics, it could be marriage.
Yeah.
It could be relationships. It's a negotiation,
right?
All the time, and it's not a competition though. Like, I'm not trying to get more out of my negotiation to serve myself more than my wife or my friend, right? So you might have to take some of the things you don't agree with for a period of time.
Yeah.
Right? So this can be a reciprocal, supportive understanding of what's true and what's right in the moment. Not that it's going to stay there.
Yeah.
Maybe that negotiation is going to be moving forward.
Yeah.
And it changes and it evolves, but yet the dialogue is always in play. The communication is always in play.
Yeah.
Right. Hearts and minds can change. Right. And just got to sit there and be patient and not try to force negotiations.
It's so funny how I always think about how you got people that are, extremely different than you, and people go to war over that stuff. And then you got people that are really close to you, which is also sometimes you can get into habits of always being at war with each other. You close friends and your family and your partner. And then you got most everybody else, which is like 99.9% of the world, people you interact with. For the most part, you're just, in some sense, sometimes you'll give strangers more of a bit of the doubt that you just meet on the street.
Isn't that interesting how that works, eh? Oh man, I put God love my wife, like, 'cause she has alluded to that before too, where I'll give more of myself to others and not as much to my responsibilities as a husband at times, right? You just get lost in that balance, and
right.
It's so cutting to have to hear it because it's so true.
Yeah.
That we, but it's nice to have a partner, a woman who can see that, and then our negotiation is just true north compass. Where dude, she can come to me with that and tell me straight out, right?
Yeah.
Like we had a conversation today actually about she gave me a little checkup from the neck up, but we were watching the World Cup soccer, right? And I have my hang-ups about soccer.
Yeah.
She was a national level soccer player, so she loves and that's how we met. Really, is through sports years ago. So she has a clear passion. Like my wife might be one of the only ones that I know that has a VHS tape of the 1991 World Cup that she videoed off the TV.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not even sure I'm allowed to get rid of that, right?
Yeah.
She still has that, right? And it's just so pretty cool. So she loves soccer. So we watched it last night, Canada game, historical game, 6-0 for Canada. And then in a sad state of events in the game, one of our key Canadian players was injured, and broken leg, I think, ankle. And then, Corey wasn't that sensitive about it. I'm like, get up. Why is there 40 guys on the field? It's not that bad, and it's bad for him, right? It's bad for the country. It's bad for the team. And of course, Kate was very sensitive about how, because she'd been there. She'd been in those situations in that sport. And I just wasn't all that sensitive, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking, tough it up. But, and then so today, and she held it in. I was probably being a bit of a jerk. I actually probably was, and just not being sensitive, right, to the circumstances that are around this whole thing, and it's just such a little thing, but for her it was bigger than that. It needed to be checked, right? So she sat on that like my wife does. She's a good processor. I probably didn't think about it ever again.
Slept great
until
that
we had
night.
a little chat this morning, and she said, Corey, you're a little bit of a jerk yesterday watching the game with me. I didn't appreciate watching the game with you yesterday in sports. This should be a thing that we do together, and we should respect one another and how we see it, right? And yeah, you didn't play soccer, but I did, and I understand a little bit about what that suffering was going through, and I just felt that you kind of were just being a little bit of a jerk about it, right? And so I had to, at first was a bit of a gaslight. No, I wasn't.
Yeah,
Right?
always
You're
is, man.
seeing things, right?
Yeah.
That's not what I meant, And
Yeah.
it's like, oh my gosh, here I am gaslighting my own wife again, right? And then, no, don't gaslight me. She puts it right there,
Right.
and yeah, next thing you know, it led to, a sorry. It probably wasn't even one of my best sorries, but it was there, and then it ended with thanks, babe.
Yeah.
Thanks, babe, for hearing me, right?
Yeah.
That dialogue that we need in which to achieve the negotiation of that conversation and what was right at the time. Right?
Man.
Yeah, what was needed.
So tough to get your ego checked like that too, man.
It's brutal.
I've been told the same thing about the sometimes I give more to random people I meet than I do to people I deeply care about and love, and it's a hell of a thing to hear. And then you go back to like why that's the case, and it's such a complicated, answer. But I think I don't know. Have you ever seen the vision of like a couple and they're kind of hugging, and then they put their boxing gloves on and they go in the ring and they beat each other up, and then they leave the ring. They're tired and they got their arms around each other's shoulders, and man,
I've never seen that. Where is that visual?
there is a visual on it, and it is kind of funny, but it's also kind of sad.
They're duking it out.
Yep.
And then they walk out.
Yep.
Arm in arm, tired and beat up.
Yep.
And okay, what's the purpose behind that?
The purpose is,
what's the message?
The message is we can get into habits of taking life stress out on the people closest to us because they're in the ring with us.
Good message.
They're right here with us.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to, I got stressed and I got XYZ and going on. You're probably not going to leave.
Yeah.
So you're just a punching bag, and you just treat each other like punching bags. And I've seen relationships like that where it becomes a habit, and it's so sad. And it's, but it's also, it's in some sense it's a natural impulse just because of the difficulty of the world, and the whole marriage thing, and you're committed to each other. Part of that is, the good side is you're not going to leave. The bad side is you're not going to leave. So why would I, why would I hold any punches?
Right.
And so it's a habit thing, but
sometimes it's the people that are closest to us that we hurt the most, right? And proximity, maybe a little bit of neglecting the promises. At times you forget to love that person in an unconditional way, and then expressing any sort of hurt either by words, but we do it to the people that we love the most, and then it becomes this twisted understanding of what love actually is when we're lashing out with words or unkindness in some way. And but they're right there beside you in it. So I got no one else around me in it. Maybe if there was another person there or group, maybe I take it out on them, and but because they're there and you chose to be there and they chose to be there, then it seems to be that the world tells you that it's all right to do that. Right. And they're there. They chose it, right? And they're supposed to take it. But that's not the right approach. We shouldn't be punching bags and then walk out. How many of those couples walk out in that visual that you had, walk out arm in arm going, we're good now. And maybe they go in separate corners after that, right?
Yep.
And remain separate after that.
100%. Yeah. Because it becomes a cycle, right? You beat each other up, and then you hug it out, and it's just, we're human beings. There's going to be a little bit of that by nature, but the problem is if it becomes a habit, like everything, and you're not really thinking it through. And I like I think it's Marcus Aurelius. He has a quote similar to this, but he says basically to get more gratitude, like. If he says something like, if you're ever looking for something or desiring something new, maybe like a new relationship in this case, think about losing the thing that you have right now. Right? So if you're ever pissed off at someone you care about and you think, well, what would I do if they left tomorrow? What if I just woke up and the house was empty? My kids were gone, my partner's gone, bags are packed. Like, and just sit with that for a bit.
Sit with that for a second.
And it's like, oh, shit. Maybe the dishes aren't that big of a deal, right?
Yeah. Maybe those little tiny things that bother
that
might bother you about your loved one there, right? About your spouses there. That's not that big a deal for sure. Yeah. That's so cool, man. Yeah, absolutely. Right. The little things, right? Like, it's interesting. Like, I think rather than beating each other up figuratively with in our relationships, is we kind of seek to help carry the suffering of the other, right? Not to fix it, not to beat it out of them, not to fix your own suffering by beating it out of them, right? But when you're suffering or they're suffering, to help be the one to carry it with, to carry that with them, and just to be present to it and support that person in it. I remember during like we had a really dark time and not in our marriage per se, but just life was kind of getting at us at this particular season of our lives, in and around 2020. 2019, 2020, we had some, some hardship, and there's some stress in our marriage. The life stresses came in, and it put a tension on our marriage.
Sure.
Right. And my job was pulling me in one direction. My wife's job was doing some things to kind of make it hard. Our personal lives, things were coming in, making it hard on each angle. Yeah, we were doing different things in a lot of ways. And I just remember that when I was at my worst, it seemed that my wife was strong, right? Like it seemed that way. Like she would be there to help me to get through these things and all these things. And then, interestingly enough, when I saw it on her side, right, of her hitting the hardships and the rock bottoms and the emotional draining sessions of life, I felt strong. Like mine weren't existing and it seemed like this neat teeter-totter approach of we were just helping carry each other's problems, right? Just so we can just live life, right? And it was so interesting that after the fact, we've talked about that often, how my problems didn't disappear in which for me to be strong. Right? Hers didn't disappear in which for her to be strong to kind of help me through my sessions of crazy and suffering. And it was interesting how we helped each other carry each other's suffering. And I think that it was a boxing match for sure. We both had our gloves on, but it wasn't directed towards each other. It was more support and helping to carry that suffering or issues, right, that we were dealing with. It was cool. Right? We still talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another example of one of those times that going through it sucks, and you just and even if you said, will we go back and do it again? Well, we would if we had to, but probably wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
But now it's the source of strength that you guys have.
Well, Kipling, man, like it's in this thing we talked about it earlier about the triumphs and the disasters, and be able to link those two paradoxes together as the same, right? To twin those two together, and then you can kind of be in the triumph and the suffering together, living through all those things, knowing that they're not within your control all the time, right? Both good and the bad, and but you can have some sort of a teammate on your side to help you through it, right? To help you carry, celebrate the triumphs and pick up the dirty pieces of the disaster,
clean up duty,
and help you clean it up, right? And yeah, absolutely, man. I really like that statement there. If you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same, right? Depth in that. Right?
And they are imposters. It's interesting because, at the time when you guys were going through it, you see it as a disaster.
Yeah.
Now you see it as a triumph.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a whole perspective.
It's a perspective. Yeah. It's a perspective, and because you just can't call, what's going to come out of it once the dust settles.
Yeah.
You just can't call it. I don't know what's going to present itself, what type of opportunities to help alleviate some of the suffering. I don't know, because I know that it's temporary. It's going to be temporary, right? Because I kind of look at it as like, thankfully, I'm very grateful that I feel like I'm capable. I'm a capable person. I try to think as rationally as I possibly can in times of strife, because you can be irrational. Right, like, dude, I'm the biggest baby. I'll go doom and gloom first, and then work my way out, right, of any sort of problem. Like, oh, it's over now. Like, these things happen. Life's over, right? But yet, it's temporary, right? It's a temporary situation. So how does one sit with the temporary disasters of our life, right? Like how do we conduct ourselves? How do we process it? How do we think it? These are questions that I think are worth pondering, young men, right? Because I think young men are probably more prone to the emotion of anger first.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, just how we're wired, right?
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful emotion, but it can destroy us, right? In a sense. So what do we do in those disaster times of our lives? How do we reconcile it?
Yeah, and there's actually a line here that speaks to that. So if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, meaning who are you when everything's fallen apart? That's kind of how I interpret that.
Yeah.
Who are you when the whole reason for you being here is gone? These dark moments, these troughs.
Right.
And how do you get through that? And unfortunately it's hard for a lot. It's hard for everyone to get through those.
Yeah. I'm sensitive to that for anyone, right? Like no person alike is gonna make amazing decisions through that. And if they say they are perfect in those times, and I would probably be pretty leery about wanting to listen anymore what that person has to say, right? If they say, I deal with every disaster with perfect stoicism and perfect choices, and it's we can do that at times as men. We can, feel pretty good. I'm good. In the inside, you're dying, right? It's just the whole fake it till you make it. Oh, good. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
Right. Like I can deal with this. I can push through that. I can deal with anything. And it's like the real truth might be you're imploding on the inside, dude.
Right.
You need some sort of remedy.
And the problem is if you do that, it'll come out in bursts of just anger and stuff that you don't intend.
Yeah.
And, Dax, he's a songwriter, but he has a line, I can't hide myself. And that's what he's talking about, those moments where it's like you got all this stuff and you're trying to get through it and put on a good face. And if you're full of anger and all kinds of stuff inside and you're not managing it and dealing with it properly, it's going to come out. And it'll come out and you're not going to have control over it if you don't manage it.
It'll come out. It's like I work on that. Like I try to be better. I think as I get older, I get a little bit more, I guess you can say, for the lack of better terms, chill.
I'm working on it, man. It's hard.
Trying to be chill.
Yeah.
And kind of sitting with moments, and either be public or, dude, I just find there's so many distractions out there. Like you get caught in this echo chamber, right? Like there's certain loves and likes that I have. There's certain people I'm going to put myself around. There's certain books I'm going to read, or videos I'm going to watch, or philosophers I'm going to listen to. And sometimes you can be in that echo chamber long enough where you get this self-righteous attitude that if you hear anything else other than this message, that somehow it's offensive to me to have to hear that.
Right.
Right. And then that's when I need to sit and allow the other side of the coin to kind of present itself so I may make a good decision. Right. There's that good again, right? How can we be good?
Yeah.
Right. I think it's the sitting in it, and instead of the ready, fire, aim, it's the ready, aim, fire. And like don't fire at it before we can sit in it and understand it better. In the times where we want to be good or make good choices.
A buddy of mine says if you can just watch your emotions kind of fall over you, if you can just be an observer of yourself, just be like, look at that. Like that's weird. And that's such great advice. And then the other way I thought about that is if you can do the same to people around you, because you know how impulsive we get. The first example you gave about someone cutting you off and you flip them off, and if you can just be an observer, just be like, oh, that's interesting. Like you don't have to react. And it's the same with like, your partner, I don't know, they say something and you don't have to get back right away.
No,
like you can just sit in it for like a few seconds.
And often too, like say if anybody says to you, I don't know where I've read this or heard this, but an interesting little technique is if somebody says something to you that you don't agree with, or maybe it's an attack against you, words or an opinion or whatever. And rather than reacting to it right away with words on almost like a combative way, is to just be silent and look at that person. So say if they give an example could be they give you they tell you off and they say like a derogatory term towards you. You are this, right? Just to sit and look at it and just, like 8 seconds. And then often what tends to happen is it gives you the control back.
Yeah.
Right? Where you're processing this, and now maybe this person is regretting what they may have said, and they might want to say something else, right? Where their demeanor changes, and then you can kind of reach in. It sounds to me that you are trying to get a message across that I am this, right? And you kind of ask a question with a question, right? And then they might rethink the next time they're going to throw out something at you that is hurtful.
Yeah.
Right? They might, this is a guy that's going to think about what you just said because it's not true. Right?
Yeah. I've heard
that's not true. I'm not that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right away. Yeah.
Hence proving you're that.
Who's it? It was a guy.
I know who you're talking about.
Guy, is it Chase? Is his
might be, yeah.
He's a I really like him. He's he was a profiler, a CIA profiler.
Yeah.
Like he did he interviewed like criminals and stuff to get the truth, and he's like a body language expert.
Yeah.
Right. I always forget his name. Chase is his name. Chase is his last name.
I think he was on Modern Wisdom.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's really good. I'm listening to him a lot lately. Actually, I like reading his stuff.
I did see that clip of him.
Yeah, and it was and I think that's where I remember hearing that. Where you just kind of sit with it, just kind of you're observing the situation in that moment. How and again, you're also vetting how you're going to respond. And
exactly.
And it's okay to kind of be in that silence. Even lawyers do it, I guess. If they'll ask a question, and then they sit, and then what is it, the pregnant pause, or what do they call it? Right? Where they, I think that's what they call it, a pregnant pause.
Pregnant pause?
Yeah. Where they'll ask the defendant, where were you on the night of, yada, yada. And then they, of course, I was here, but maybe they need more information, and they just let it sit. Right. And then more information starts to come out. Right. You learn more about that person without even asking the question.
Yeah.
And those are interesting scenarios on the human behavior.
No, I love that. I've seen that clip, and I remember when I was younger. Everyone has these situations where you'll have a little bickering moment with somebody, and you go away and you think, "Oh, I should have said this. I should have said that." Right? Classic. And then as I kind of hopefully become a little bit more wiser, in those moments I try and think, I should have been silent longer.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
I should have just not said anything. Right. And and I'm not quite there, but I'm moving towards that. Like I still get that impulse of like, I should have said this, and then no, I should have been silent. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
I should have sat with it.
Yeah.
Right.
And then a lot of times we're so caught up in what words we missed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He used that word. And then
and what words we missed to articulate what we would have liked to have said in that moment.
Right.
Like hindsight 2020. Right. Like
you're
going back home and you're rerunning through that crucial conversation you had with a coworker or a friend or a spouse or whatever the case is, and you have this kind of like social hangover of, man, I had the words when I was in the way into the office. I had it perfect, right? And then it just all goes to hell. And then really though, those crucial conversations, maybe the silence is where the wisdom is. Yeah. Right. And then you can kind of come to a collective conversation through those moments of silence where we give each other time to break open what needs to be said.
Yeah.
Right. And that would be probably a really good relationship, eh?
Yeah. And no one's perfect, but you can always pick up the phone and, after the fact, take a minute, calm down, digest it, and then you pick up the phone and say, hey, that wasn't really my best moment kind of thing, or, I didn't mean to come back at you kind of thing. And, but yeah, the worst thing you can do in an argument is stutter, right? Because,
got you. Yeah, they got you.
Can't talk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, my man, we're at an hour 13.
Oh, wow. Time flies, brother.
Flew by, and I think you got to cut off at 3, but, any final words of wisdom?
Gosh, man, wisdom. How do you spell it?
I was hoping you could tell me.
It's like, yeah, man, wisdom. Oh, well. Anytime, because I'm a finite human being, so any words of wisdom that come out of me are so tiny and small compared to what I could get out of a scripture passage, where the wisdom's and to me the wisdom of scripture is awesome. And it reminded me, like, even talking earlier. Thanks for the invite, by the way, too, buddy.
Great to have you back.
It's always nice to chat with you.
3 times? 3 or 4?
I don't know.
You've been on a few times.
A couple times, maybe. I forget. But again, when we're having good dialogue, right? It's always easy. It's like an ongoing conversation.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I love having you
here, man.
Which is
awesome, and you're really easy to talk to, and you're a great.
You
guy,
too,
man.
brother.
And appreciate it. And I really hope it gets to your listeners, and you know, and they find some fruits in it as well. And I wish you the best of luck with the whole podcast and your whole venture of
appreciate it, man.
Of helping others, man, because you're serving.
Yeah,
is what you're doing, and you know, being on YouTube and doing these things, it's hard. It's a constant battle, and a repetitious and being consistent in which to reach with the really, really fine messages that you leave your listeners. And they're so
Thank
good,
you.
they're rich, and I always love listening to them. Huge fan. So
I appreciate it, man.
Appreciate that. And on that note, ask your question about wisdom. Micah 6 verse 8, and it talks about do justice, love goodness, walk humbly. Those 3 things. Do justice, not try to live a life of just ways. Do it, right? Do it. Love goodness. It being a choice, man. It's you want to be good, choose it. Right? Choose the good ways, choose the good livings, choose the good behaviors, choose the good reactions. Choose to remain silent in the times you want to be loud. I think that would be something I'd love to at least apply to my own lives and maybe offer your listeners.